This particular taxpayer was unemployed during the tax year, so there's no IRP5 information. Let's say this unemployed taxpayer lived off investment income during the year, but still contributed to his retirement funds. For taxpayers without IRP5s who pay their own retirement fund contributions, we can ignore this IRP5 form on the income screen and go straight to Retirement Fund Contributions window on the deduction screen and enter Retirement Fund Contributions there. Here we can enter these contributions paid to pension, provident and RA funds as code 4001, 4003 and 4006 amounts directly into these white fields. We can even itemize these contribution details if we wish. The total of the employer's plus the taxpayer's current and arrears contributions may be entered as code 4001, 4003 and 4006 contributions. The total of these three amounts, together with allowable brought forward amounts, will be used in the calculation of the deduction allowed for retirement fund contributions. Before 1st of March 2016, Provident Fund contributions were not tax deductible, so only allowable Provident Fund contributions made after 1st of March 2016 may be included in these amounts. WinTax will use the total contributions to retirement funds in the calculation to determine how much of these contributions qualify as a deduction under the 27.5% rule. Amounts for codes 4472, 4473 or 4475 do not affect any calculations and are for record purposes only. Obviously, there will be no employer's code 4472, 4473 or 4475 contributions as this taxpayer was not employed. Let's go back to the IRP5 screen and look at a taxpayer who was employed and did receive an IRP5. In our example here, we can see the taxpayer belonged to a pension fund and both the employer and the employee contributed to the pension fund. Code 4001 indicates the total of all current and arrear pension fund contributions paid by both the employer and the employee to the employee's pension fund. Code 4472 shows the amount of the contributions paid by the employer. As the contributions paid to a retirement fund by an employer are taxable in the hands of the employee, we see the taxable element of the code 4472 amount as the code 3817 amount added to income. In most cases, the code 4472 amount and the code 3817 amount will be the same. But sometimes these amounts may differ depending on whether the pension fund is a defined benefit or a defined contribution fund. Obviously, the code 4472 amount of contributions paid by the employer is included in the code 4001 total of contributions. Similar to medical aid fund contributions, you probably will not find a code amount for the employee's contributions shown on an IRP5, but simply subtracting the employer's contributions from the total contributions gives you the employee's contributions. If we click on these blue info buttons, it will give us more information on the various codes. There's another info button here, and scrolling down will give us all the information we need on these codes. Notice that the total of 25,000 Rand in the yellow field at the bottom of the deduction contribution screen is not the total deduction amount. It is merely a total of the amounts in this column that may be used in SARS's formulas and calculations used to determine allowable deductions or tax credits according to legislation limits. In a rare case where a particular taxpayer has more income or deduction contribution amounts on an IRP5, as is catered for on the IRP5 screen in WinTax, then simply add another IRP5 in WinTax and enter the extra amounts on the second IRP5. we need to click on the Calculate button here and then open the deduction screen. If our taxpayer was employed and we entered contributions to retirement funds on the income screen IRP5, then those contributions on the income screen IRP5s will be shown here in the yellow fields. The total contribution amounts in the white fields will be used by WinTax for processing your deduction claim. You do not have to re-enter these amounts into the white fields again. You can click on this button which says Transfer IRP5 Contributions to this screen, and each amount in the yellow field that has been ticked will automatically be copied to the white fields to be used in the program. If you do not want a particular amount to be transferred from the yellow field to the white field, then deselect it before clicking on the Transfer button. As we mentioned earlier, obviously a self-employed taxpayer without an employer would have no amounts in the yellow fields, so you would just go ahead and enter the taxpayer's contributions into the white fields on this screen. I will now copy the IRP5 amounts in the yellow fields over to the white fields here for processing by clicking on this button. You may change any amount in the white field to see the effect of a what-if scenario. For example, if you change the code 4001 amount for the taxpayer's pension contributions in the white column from 15,000 Rand to 25,000 Rand, then WinTax would work out a new deduction amount and show you the difference that this would make to the tax.